Cheating is something we've all been warned about our entire lives. We've always been told not to cheat on a test because we're really only cheating ourselves. But besides that, if we cheat on a test, we can receive a 0 for the grade and we can also be thrown out of school. Now, if such negative consequences can come from simply cheating on an exam, imagine what would happen if you're a professional athlete in the public view and you get caught cheating in professional sports. Professional athletes that are caught cheating lose most of their fan base, they lose respect of other athletes, and they put their careers and livelihoods in jeopardy. The most common way that athletes cheat in professional sports is through the use of performance-enhancing drugs. The most common performance enhancings are anabolic steroids, blood doping, and human growth hormones. While these athletes are still competing, they have a tremendous advantage over the competition, but later on in life they face severe health risks and also many social consequences. The most common performance-enhancing drug that's used in professional sports is anabolic steroids. A steroid is a serum made of mostly synthetically produced testosterone that is injected into the athlete's body, usually in their upper thigh or butt area. Steroids work by increasing the rate of protein synthesis in the body. If protein synthesis is increased, then that means there's more protein available for athletes to build bigger and stronger muscles. Steroids also block cortisol, a substance in your body that breaks down muscles. So when an athlete uses steroids, their muscles are growing bigger and stronger than ever before, and they're not being broken down. Steroids also increases aggressiveness and competitiveness in its users. Now in the real world, this is known as roid rage and can be very dangerous, but for an athlete this can be very beneficial. Now that the athlete is bigger and stronger than ever before because of steroids, they're also willing to do whatever they can to help their team win, which is a huge asset for any professional sports team. Steroids may sound like a great idea for athletes right now, but that's because I haven't told you about all the negative side effects that come with steroids. Steroids leads to an increase in acne, increased blood pressure, kidney damage and eventual kidney failure, a change in the structure of your heart. It increases the chance of becoming bald and also increases body hair. And for men, the use of steroids leads to testicular atrophy, something that no man wants. There are many famous athletes who have been caught using anabolic steroids in professional sports. Some of the most famous include Arnold Schwarzenegger, Mark McGuire, Barry Bonds, Jose Canseco, David Ortiz, and even Manny Ramirez. But whenever people think of steroid users, they mostly think of Barry Bonds. Barry Bonds is the holder of the two most prestigious records in Major League Baseball, the single-season home run record and the career home run record. Barry Bonds is the home run king, but he wasn't always destined to get there. In his early career, he was a skinny, fast player, but through the use of steroids, Bonds became the strongest and best hitter of all time. Barry Bonds was a hero for many children, including myself, and to see him become a cheater had such a negative impact on my views of professional athletes. Whenever I see someone doing extremely good, I don't think that they're very talented, I automatically assume that they're cheaters. This year is Bonds' first chance to be elected into the Baseball Hall of Fame, which would send a very negative message that athletes are allowed to use anabolic steroids as long as they aren't caught using them during their professional careers. Another common performance enhancer that athletes use are blood dopers. Blood doping is when an athlete increases the amount of red blood cells in their bloodstream in an attempt to increase their endurance. Red blood cells are very critical to athletic performance because they carry oxygen from the lungs to the muscles, and muscles need oxygen to perform well. Blood doping is done through a series of blood transfusions performed with the athlete's own blood. A couple of months prior to any athletic performance, the athletes draw their own blood and freeze it. Red blood cells are very unique in that they can be frozen and then unfrozen, and they don't lose any of their oxygen carrying capacity. On the day of a competition, all the athlete has to do is unfreeze their red blood cells, inject it into their bloodstream, and then they literally have a superhuman number of red blood cells in their bloodstream. This is obviously a huge competitive advantage over anyone else who isn't blood doping, because now this athlete can literally do any exercise he wants for a longer period of time than anyone else. But there are some negative side effects of blood doping. Since you have so many red blood cells and so much blood in your body, you're at great risk of strokes and other forms of blood clots. The most famous athlete to be caught blood doping is Lance Armstrong. Lance is the best cyclist in American history, and some people even regard him as one of the best athletes of all time. Some of his remarkable achievements include winning medals at the Olympics and winning 7 Tour de France titles, many of these titles coming in consecutive years. This past summer, Lance gave up his fight against the World Anti-Doping Agency and all but admitted to using performance enhancers. The World Anti-Doping Agency has said for many years that Armstrong and his teammates all engaged in blood doping, which led to their tremendous success and domination in cycling. The overwhelming evidence that Armstrong engaged in blood doping led to the removal of all of his records, and he was even stripped of all 7 of his Tour de France titles. Lance Armstrong, a once hero in the sporting world, is now nothing but a liar and a cheater, and serves as a great example of all the negative effects that the use of performance-enhancing drugs can have. Human growth hormone has also been used by athletes to increase their athletic performance. Human growth hormone is a little different than blood doping and anabolic steroids because it increases lean body mass and decreases body fat, which makes it easier for an athlete to come back from an injury quicker and stronger than ever before. Human growth hormone also increases an athlete's resistance to injury, making it less likely that they'll get injured later on in their career. Human growth hormone doesn't increase muscle size or anything like that, but it also comes with many of the same side effects as anabolic steroids. And an increase in human growth hormone can also lead to an increase in fatigue and a decrease in stamina, which is something professional athletes definitely don't want. 2 of the biggest names to admit to using human growth hormone are Andy Pettit and Jason Giambi. Unlike other users of anabolic steroids and blood doping, Pettit and Giambi use human growth hormone to recover from injury fast. Although their careers are not as tainted as steroid users, athletes that use human growth hormone lose their fan base and lose the respect of other athletes. These 2 baseball players ruined their careers and certainly ruined their chances of getting Baseball Hall of Fame. The use of performance-enhancing drugs in sports is a major problem at both the professional and amateur levels. Steroids, human growth hormone, and blood doping are all used to gain a competitive advantage, but they come at a heavy price. It is up to the athlete to decide whether the benefits of these PEDs outweigh the eventual downfalls. I hope to see all forms of PEDs outlawed soon, because I know that when I'm a parent, I won't want my kids to look up to athletes who cheat their way to the record books, and I'm sure you won't want that either.